Hi, welcome to episode 5. Change your focus, change your frequency. Let's talk about what really happens when you step into a new leadership role. Our podcast is all about taking that bold next leadership move and stepping into that outer authority, if you will. One of my clients, this is what she said: "I'm not a yes man. If something isn't clinically right, I speak up." And this is one of my clients who is a senior manager, rural community health. So let's talk about reflect. What are we reflecting in this episode is all about stress response. What happens to your stress response when it meets misaligned environments? Imagine yourself in a stressful environment every single day. And so was my client. She had stepped into a brand new executive role, one that was never held before in her organization. So no blueprint, no handover whatsoever, just ambiguity and expectations. She was committed. She was very much capable and deeply mission driven. But every time she walked into her boss's office, something shifted. So she says, I knock on her door and it's the same resting face, like I'm the problem, just needing clarity. What was really happening? So let's talk about her stress response, right? So I actually guided my client through a stress response assessment, and we uncovered that my client's focus had become, the minute she saw her boss, it just is automatically, she gets into the survival mode, meaning where she connects to is managing expectations, second guessing her voice, shrinking her natural leadership essence to not rock the boat during her probation. So instantly where she connects to is pain, struggle, lack mindset, her limitations, her rejections of the past. So what was once bold energy, it turned to cautious tiptoeing. And here's the thing, my friend, you as a leader, you have two things to manage, right? One is you managing the team efficiently, which a lot of the leaders that I see do a very, very, very good job. But when it comes to you in the room with your boss, that is where the true magic needs to happen. That is where you need to respond versus react. That is where your leadership should shine through you. That's where you command your presence. That's where your outer authority is being felt. That's where your radiance, purpose, everything is being felt so deeply. This is exactly what happens to many, many, many high achieving women when they step into their next bold move or new leadership roles in another company, where they want to be standing out. They want to be that lighthouse. They want to wear confidence, embody that confidence every single day. They want to be so clear in what steps they take. They want to be highly efficient, and they want to use their logic, wisdom, and lead through that experience, the wisdom of what they've been through with a story. And the pressure to prove themselves here overtakes the clarity they thought they once had. So together, let's decode this. What I looked for my client was, we talk a lot about this in the 5-day reset challenge. At this point, if you haven't signed up for the 5-day reset challenge, I would just pause, go check the summary, the concise, the notes here. The summary talks about where you can go and sign up. So there's a direct link to the landing page. And I wouldn't wait. And I want you to lock arms with the other leaders who are the action takers, who are leading boldly, who want to step up in their leadership game, who know they deserve more, who know that they've outgrown their current identity role and they need help. So the biggest piece that I see missing is the community piece that leaders crave. So I wouldn't wait. Join the private Facebook group. This is where the real magic begins. But first, you have to be signed up for the 5-day leadership reset challenge. This is where we talk about the recalibration and the opportunities and what is your true potential. So I use a practical tool called Human Design to back this all up. And I use my 3-part framework, my proprietary framework, which is called as the Leadership Liberation, Reset Framework. And it is all about to help you step authentically, right, with your unique self-expression to really, really, really study you and understand what are the fears like when you step into the survival mode? What is like when your emotions are up and down in a toxic environment daily? And this becomes you normalize this and how your bodies go out of balance due to this, right? So for my client, she had open communication center. So we talk a lot about that during our 5-day reset. What often we observed was she would absorb other people's tones, voices, and expressions. So our emotional safety, when it came to that, she would second guess her own voice, right? Of course, the barriers would go up because that became her safety mechanism to protect herself. And, people in a spectrum go through either an adaptation to mitigate where they kind of shut down and they create space and space and space. So this becomes very challenging for you to then step out of corporate identity and understand what is your big dream, right? Or it becomes very reactive as a result. So everybody's so different. And then I helped her look at her design and helped her to lead boldly by showcasing her superpowers, her type. It is so unique and personalized to every single leader. How is she supposed to be working in a group setting? What it feels like to recognize her authority, right? In an environment where she felt quite suppressed, and she was so happy to understand what were some of the leadership strengths she had that she didn't leverage before, or she even was not conscious about that. And we all know it's her public profiles. Individually, we have our public profiles, and that client who had a I believe it's 1-3 public profile. She knew line 3 is all about trial and erroring her way. It's feeling forward, wanting to try something new. It's bonds made, bonds broken. It is like wanting fresh every time. It is bumping into things. It's in that hungry stage. If you talk about the 3 stages of the butterfly, it's that caterpillar stage, if you will, right? And everybody goes through this stage. So her learning is through this real-time tension she felt. She was wired to experiment and pivot fast. The shift happened for my client when she realized the truth that she cannot control the way, she can't control me the way she controlled others. So my client talks about how her boss, couldn't control her. And that's where the triggering part started. My client just knew she's not here to fit in or shrink or lower her frequency. And because she's here to command the room, she's here to command her presence. She's here to literally lead with her authority that feels so natural. But when that resistance is so hard, of course, battling the mind, body, and battling all of the discomfort every single day. And when your spirit is not accompanying your leadership skills, it's just a toughest thing ever. So, we spoke about 3 things that she could anchor her values, and shine through her truth, and where the shift began and where her focus shifted was to control what she could. So to track her energy, her tone, her presence, her aura, what she was believing in, what her presence felt like, where her stress response was, whether she was reactful with what the challenges were thrown at her, or what it felt like coming daily to work, whether she was at a calm presence, she was clear, all of those, right? Out of chaos, out of confusion. That was very important for her to understand. And to be in the present moment, not past rejections or future assumptions. And to change the meaning from I'm being dismissed to I'm leading with conviction. That alone shifted everything for my client. It shifted her energy inside out. Her tone softened, and she just allowed for herself for the very first time to just be without losing authority or suddenly being reactive, right? This is where everything landed. She was finally seen differently. So this is my call to you. If you want to be leading boldly, if you believe that this is the missing piece, you're not able to connect that internal shift that you feel literally every day waking up, this deep, deep desire in you wanting to feel aligned again. 5-day reset challenge is for you, my friend. I wouldn't wait. Go sign up today. So let's talk about how my client was able to lead boldly. Remember, power doesn't have to be loud. It has to be clear. So what was my client's biggest growth? She no longer reacts to micromanagement with resistance. She now leads with calm clarity. She shows evidence of impact before it's requested. She's gaining trust without approval seeking. Her words now, I'm not walking in hoping she approves me. I'm walking in knowing that I bring massive value. Ooh, I love this so much. And that leader is what that leadership liberation looks like. This is what leadership liberation looks like. It's an internal shift that creates external respect, external, sometimes it's like the validation that we seek is from external. No, it needs to come from internal shifts so that your presence is felt differently, so that you are seen, heard. Everything is, a different kind of shift around you. So do you feel like my client, high performing but overlooked, constantly walking on eggshells and craving clarity on how to lead with conviction? Highly, highly, highly recommend to join the free 5-day leadership reset masterclass. We begin April the 22nd at 5 p.m. Eastern. This is where you build confidence. This is where you focus. This is where you reset your focus and lead with bold energy. So what do you get as a result of joining this 5-day reset? You get access to exclusive FB, the Facebook private community where leaders are locking arms, where there is, daily prompts, workbook, ebook, your human design, the tools, and so much more. Even my clients go live there. There's live support there. I wouldn't wait. Go sign up today. And the most important thing is you have access to the private leadership reset podcast. This is only for people, who register for the 5-day, and people are tuning in from all over the globe. So I wouldn't wait. I would jump on it. So tap the link in the bio and register now. And I cannot wait to see you inside our community and to see you live on the 22nd of April at 5 p.m. Eastern. All right, my friend, I'm hoping to see you there, and let's have a chat soon, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye now.